Oh my god. This is real life. Did, did that just happen? I think DC didn't shit the bed. Well, maybe like a couple like dribbles out the butt, but like that wasn't diarrhea. If you saw my other video that I did talking about Wonder Woman, talking about the trailer, I was not hyped for this movie, like not in the slightest. I like these superhero movies, and I like what Marvel's been doing, but what DC's been doing, it's been a disappointment to say the least. I don't want to get into all that because this doesn't feel like it's connected really at all. Because this movie starts out and it's basically just a giant flashback, and for like the sake of these movies, that was actually a really good thing. But yeah, Wonder Woman, huh? It didn't suck. Amazing. My mind is blown. That being said, this is not a masterpiece, and it is far from perfect. So yeah, I know it's been a while since I've done this, and just to get back and just to be aware of everything, I know my curtains are inside out. I did that just for you, the three people watching. But now, this movie. Let me just get into what I did not like about it first so we can talk about what I did like. To start out, the dialogue in this movie, to say the least, it can be rough. It goes from decent to like just standard ABC, connect the dots, to like, oh my god, shut up. This should have been cut. I mean, why the fuck do they spend about 10 minutes talking about Chris Pine's penis? I mean, I guess, how else would I have known he was a guy? He has a penis, everyone. And that, and a few minutes later, they have this really drawn out, awkward scene where Chris Pine's like, I don't want to sleep with you, but. But, like, I'm making it sound like he gave a bad performance, but those parts just kind of irked me. Chris Pine was actually really great in the movie, and so was Gal Gadot. Their chemistry actually really works great on screen, but there's just a couple points in the beginning that I just mentioned where it's just like, stop. But after they leave, the beautiful island, which I said looked kind of fake in the trailer, and it's still, to me, it looked just, maybe it was the color correction they did, or there was something with it where it felt not so real, but I get it. It was colorful. I appreciated that. I wasn't mad at all about that happening. But the movie, I was really worried once they went into Zack Snyder land, where everything was like foggy and dirty and stuff, that it was going to just turn into the same old bullshit, except it was going to be a really lame fish out of water story. But I gotta be honest, they took a really interesting angle with the fish out of water story. Not that it was like 100% original or anything. However, it made me laugh at some parts. A lot of the jokes missed for me, but I still found it enjoyable watching this character because her performance is so charismatic and she's a good fucking character. With the people in movies that you watch that's a fucking character. That's a character too. And so is Deadpool. But you know who's not a character? Batman and Batman vs. Superman, or in Man of Steel, barely, because the kid gives a good performance. And Ben Affleck, he was Ben Affleck, okay? So finally they got a hero in one of these DC movies that is a fucking character. And one of the things I really appreciate about this movie was it was that. A fucking movie. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here. Like Batman versus Suicide Squad. Batman versus Superman is just like 5 scripts, like having a massive bloody orgy that is just like a disturbing mess to watch that makes no goddamn sense. And Suicide Squad is like they took like hours of test reels and just covered it with about 7 layers of CGI bullshit. So I really was expecting nothing when I saw this, and I gotta say, like, it wasn't a total grand slam by any means, but I would say this was a home run for them because shit, I liked all the characters, they did stuff, the plot may have not been that original, but it was focused on the lead character of Diane, or Diana, Princess Diana, whatever her name is. And they never call her Wonder Woman in the movie, and they treat her with respect, and they develop her, and she's pushing the action forward, and that's what these goddamn movies need. And we see what she cares about, which is the people, and I really appreciate that, and I liked that. So kudos to you guys at DC for doing this. But here's where we get into what is the best thing about this movie. Believe it or not, it's the fucking action. The action in this movie, I'm not usually one of those people who goes like, fuck, it was awesome, but like, this action was pretty awesome. A lot of really cool stuff with her whips, really cool acrobatic stuff. The slow-mo stuff, not all of it worked, but I've heard other people say otherwise. I thought some of the editing and the action was actually pretty good. There's a couple hiccups, like where it's like, that was a bad beat, but other than that, they really have a good flow to these action scenes, and they do a lot of shots that, like, I want to do in action movies. Like, I'm a really big fan of the video game Hotline Miami, and anyone who's played that before knows that it's a top-down shooter. And one of my dreams is to make a movie of that, and they have a lot of top-down shots where they're kicking ass and doing stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that looks cool, I like that. And, some of the effects, I feel like they could have gone through one or two more renders again. They were a little bit funky, but that whip, boy, that whip, I was about it. I really, really liked the whip in there. That was the highlight of the movie, I'd say, like, of Wonder Woman's abilities. And one thing that was nice, you know, not to spoil anything, if anything, just jump 10 seconds here. If you've seen that poster where she picks up a tank, that happens in the movie. I was like, that's nice. You know, that's nice. But, I won't draw this out any longer. I rated this, you know, an 8 yesterday when I was making one of my big Facebook posts. But I think it's more like a 7.5. Like an 8 feels like too much because it's long. I don't see myself really ever running out to pick this up when it comes out. That being said, I did enjoy it. I like the characters a lot. There's a couple other side characters. It reminded me of, what's it called, Rogue One a little bit, because that's a war movie with these side characters that you don't get to know. But the thing is, with Wonder Woman, you actually get to know these characters and you kind of like them a little bit. They're definitely way more developed than they are in Rogue One, as comparing the, like, side characters. That being said, this is pretty good. I'd give it, like I said, like 7.8, 7.7 out of 10. Like, this was nice, you know, like, I really like this character. I'm excited for Wonder Woman 2 if they do that. But here's the problem. This has nothing to do with the last, like, 3 DC movies. So them saying, this is part of the extended universe, it's like, so what? It had nothing to say about it. Like, I feel like somewhere on the cutting room floor, there's, like, a scene where, like, Aquaman and Cyborg were, like, holding hands going to lunch. And thankfully they cut it because it didn't need it. But overall, I'd say, yeah, go check this out. I bet you'll like it. If you have a pulse and you're human and you're not a racist or, you know, a sexist, hey, maybe you might think it's cool. And I heard Fox News was saying that this movie wasn't American enough. She's an Amazonian! Hello? Hello? That's not Amazon.com, you fuck.